Mom, Dad, and I were sitting in the waiting room. They called his name, and he stood up, and I looked at him, and just something clicked. He's had a stroke. Getting chills right now thinking about that because it still bothers me that you just helped kill your father. Morning.
Talk about your dad.
My dad.
His name, his personality, what was he like?
So I am a third. I am John Gow Evans III. My dad was John Gow Evans Jr., and my grandfather was John Gow Evans. So my grandfather died when my dad was 12. His high school only went to the 10th grade. So he graduated high school when he was 16. He went to Virginia Polytechnical Institute in Blacksburg, Virginia at 16. So at age 20, my dad is a first lieutenant in the Army Corps of Engineers. He's in the invasion of North Africa. He's in the invasion of Sicily, and he's in the invasion of Italy. You know, losing your dad at 12, you're in a world war at age 20. I'm sure that had a profound impact on my dad. I guess the way to describe my dad was difficult and demanding. For me and my dad, we just could not carry on a conversation. Just couldn't. And part of that was me just being, that age of a boy. But I think a lot of it was what happened to my dad when he was younger, and then just his generation. Looking back on it years later, I think that was a lot of how my dad and I didn't communicate, because he didn't really have a father for that long. And then being thrown into World War II as he was, I didn't know anything about what he did. He never talked about it. We were sitting at the kitchen table. I distinctly remember this during the Vietnam War. Walter Cronkite was a newscaster, and he literally used to read the casualty reports.
And in this special one-hour report, we will bring you
on the 6 and 7 o'clock news. And my dad just commented, "I never got a parade when I came home from World War II." It's the only thing I ever heard him say. He and I we couldn't communicate. I don't want to say we weren't close, because we did things, but it was very, very difficult for him to have a conversation with me. It was more telling me how I should do things, the expectations he had for me. And I think a lot of that was, again, based on how he had to grow up. Mom, Dad, and I were sitting in the waiting room at the James, and they called his name, and he stood up, and I looked at him, and just something clicked. He's had a stroke. And then over the next couple days, things got worse. It was me and my mom. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And I knew my dad. My dad is not going to want to live on a feeding tube. So the option was to make him comfortable and allow nature to take its course, which ended up being an IV of morphine that over the course of a few days was slowly turned up until he just stopped breathing, and he passed. And I struggled immediately. One half of my brain saying that my dad would not have wanted to live tied to a feeding tube. The other side of my brain saying, "You just helped kill your father." And over the course of the next couple years, the anxiety, the depression that I think I've probably had since I was a kid got progressively worse. A blackness that just was all enveloping. Like it was just all around me. And I couldn't function. I couldn't figure out what to do first. There was just so many things going on. And yeah, there were days when I couldn't even get out of bed and go to work. And so it was this emotional roller coaster. There were days when I did get up, go to work, and I would sit there for 8 hours trying to figure out how I was going to survive the day to be able to go home, crawl back in bed at night. Nobody understands what you're going through when you're that depressed and having those anxiety attacks. Probably the deepest, darkest was around 2010, 2011. Because in 2010, I was working for Battelle in Columbus, and they eliminated my job. Just getting up the, I don't know if it was nerve, to accept the fact that I needed help and to reach out. And that was a lot, again, Lisa pushing that, hey, you can't keep on going like this. She wouldn't give up. She didn't give up on me. She didn't give up. Finding someone to talk to was the biggest step for me. It's funny that you go to a counselor wanting answers. You know, tell me what's wrong, tell me how to get out of this, and that's not their job. They're in my opinion, their job is they listen to what you have to say, then they start asking you questions, and you come up with answers on your own. When I met Mark and we started talking, it was just like a lot of the stuff with my dad came out. My relationship with my dad when I was younger came out, and how all of those things, you know, had then impacted me. But then also the feelings that I had with the darkness, the just not being able to start something. Every day is a day, and some days are just better than others. And the biggest thing for me was that I wasn't alone, getting to the point where I was fully functioning again. And so I've come to accept that. I still have days where I have issues. I'll have anxiety attacks. And today I can deal with them where I couldn't. That would have had me down and out for a day at least. I find myself now, those little things, my grandkids, a sunrise, working and meeting people, the small things are what are really, really cool now. So we have two boys. Nathan is 32 and Colin is 29. Colin, much, much more emotional, just like me. And not that we had issues growing up with the boys, but I was probably much harder on them in some ways than Lisa was. And I think that was how, you know, that was how I was with my dad. Colin being much more emotional. When he was latter years of high school, he started to have anxiety attacks. We actually suggested to him that he go see Mark, the counselor that I had gone to. And again, that was one of the best things for him. And he and I can have discussions about how we react to stimulus in the world from the outside and how that affects us mentally. So that journey with him came kind of after I'd gotten my footing a little bit better. I think I give him a totally different perspective than I would have been able to give him. That's a good thing, to have that relationship where the kids and I, the boys and I, can still have those discussions about, you know, work or relationships or Mustangs, bourbon, and guns. What am I most proud of today? I'd say the thing I'm most proud of right now is how our boys have turned out and the relationship that our youngest Colin has with his kids. He is a tremendous dad. And I'd like my mom and dad to know that that their grandkids have done well and they're good people. and that I got 2 great grandkids too. I guess, Joey, if I've got anything that I want to say to folks that are watching, even in our company and outside, is that you're not alone. You've got so much ahead of you. There's folks out there that can help. Maybe it's family members. With me, that's where it started, but it was getting help and finding somebody to talk to, and realizing that you're not alone, that there are folks out there that want to help you fight through it, and that you can.
They came too soon. Wish we had the time.
It's time to talk.
Down, we prayed and we cried. Talking to you now, as father and son. Think I found my own way home. Hope you're proud of the man I've become.